We just had the Legends of Leadville panel, and this is the Legends in the Making panel. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of, sorry, I said Leadville, Pikes Peak. Thanks for being here. We're going to chat with some of the elite athletes and hear their stories and how they're feeling ahead of race day. I'm John. I host the For the Long Run podcast. We talk about exploring the why and understanding what enables athletes to be successful and how they define success and all that good stuff. So we tap into the mental side. Definitely takes mental strength to run up a 14er. So we're going to get into that, I'm sure. I see some deep breaths being had on the on the stage here. And then I have Kim, who is also a legend of Pikes Peak here. And Kim, do you want to do a little intro?
Hi, my name is Kim Dobson, and like many of these people here, I love this race. I did my first Ascent in 2009, and I think I've done it about 10 times. So I'm happy to be here.
All right. Again, who is running Pikes Peak this weekend? Let's hear it. Has anyone on the panel not done it before? Awesome. Cool. Who wants to kick things off? Alicia, do you want to kick things off? Cool. What brings you to Pikes Peak?
I'm Alicia Vargo, and this is my second Pikes Peak, but it's a race that I've dreamt about since I was a teenager when I first heard about crazy people running to the top of Pikes Peak and back down, and it's just been something that's always been on my radar. And around the time that I was like kind of still running like track and road races, I heard about this crazy fast woman named Kim Dobson like sprinting up to the top of Pikes Peak, and it was something that just kind of captivated me, and I've always wanted to be here and be part of this incredible race and organization and community of people. And so it's taken a lot of years, but I'm finally back here for my second time, and it's definitely an honor.
And you're living around 10,000 feet, so you must have
Correct.
some secrets for racing and running at high altitude. What enables you to push hard at these elevations?
I think that you just have to change your expectations for how you feel, because your body just has different sensations as you get up towards like that 10,000 plus range. And, you know, really listening to your body and taking care of yourself, but also just realizing that it's like not going to feel very warm and cozy most of the time, and just like letting that be part of the challenge and kind of embracing that and just exploring how your body feels, when you're getting to 10, 11, 12,000 feet.
I think one of the things that becomes important is not getting out and going too hard from the start. How do you, for people who are out listening and doing it for the first time, what do you say to those people? How do you rein it in at the beginning?
I think it's just a decision you have to make and like stick to your plan, because if you do get too close to kind of like your top end or redlining, it's really hard to come back from that as the altitude goes up, and the feelings just start compounding. So I think you just have to make a decision, like this is what I'm going to do, and this is my plan. I'm going to stick to it, and don't get carried away with those like cruisy, pavement mile and the W's, and those early miles can really suck you in. So stick to your plan.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I guess what brought me here, I have a lot of friends who live in Colorado, have always talked about this race, which is pretty cool, but I've been doing a pretty uphill focused season just for various reasons. And so someone was just like, you should do Pikes. And I was like, of course, I should do Pikes. Colorado is kind of far away from Wyoming, so it's not often I get to come out here. And with that being said, this is only my second 14er, the first being skiing Shasta. So this is my first one running, which will be pretty exciting. But I am definitely excited. I love that I just get to be around a lot of friends running, and it should be a good time.
What are you looking forward to most?
I don't know, that feeling of being at the top. I think it's pretty cool. I almost like that feeling of being at 14,000 feet. I mean, 13,000 in Wyoming, but and you're kind of redlining, but it's that like you're really pushing yourself and you're doing it and you're running, and it's just like this crazy, like what am I doing? But also having like a good time while doing it. So that feeling should be good. About to finish,
You said you've had a pretty uphill focused season. What is it about racing uphill that you love so much?
Yeah, well, a lot of it came because I have this stomach issue that was not allowing me to run downhill at the beginning of the summer, and so I was like, I have to really, pivot. At first, I was like, my season's over. This is it. What am I going to do? And then I kind of realized that, especially in Europe, I got to spend some time in Europe this summer. There's a lot of races that are all uphill and not just VKs. A lot of ascending. So I was able to do the Barhorn race in Switzerland, which is about 10,500 feet of climbing to the top of Barhorn, which was pretty cool. And then
what distance?
Like 15 miles.
Wow.
And I was hooked. I loved it. It was super awesome. I recommend that one to anyone. So.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Christina Mascarenas, and I was born and raised here. So I've grown up looking at this mountain, and to me, this was my first race, really. So I started running to run up Pikes Peak. So there's no option but to run it. Just kidding. I could miss one or two, I guess.
What was it about the first time you did it that kept drawing you back?
Oh my gosh, it was just so much fun. The energy on the mountain is insane. Like, everyone at the aid station is so excited to see you. All of your competitors are rooting you on when you pass them, or you root for them if they pass you. Search and Rescue is playing kazoos at the Cirque. It's just, everyone's so happy to be there. And then you get to the top and it's a big party. Like, my whole family was up there and my friends and all my running crew. So it was just like a whole vibe.
You've had some speedy downhill time on this mountain. What are your secrets for fast downhill without landing on your face?
Yeah, pick your feet up. No, so I think just to commit to one line. So a lot of the times when you can see that something's getting technical ahead of you, you really want to slow down and start getting choppy. And this mountain opens up enough that if you just take one or two steps in the technical section, you can get through it pretty fast and then it will smooth out. So I think just confidence, full send, and just keep your head on a swivel so you don't get caught off guard when you go from super smooth to like really technical. I think that's when people tend to fall.
What are you looking forward to most?
The downhill. No, I love getting up top and just kind of turning around. So the first few miles are a little bit harder to run up there, but it's so fun. And then you're just like face to face with people who are so excited to see you. And yeah.
So we have a lot of people in the audience that are doing it for the first time. What would you say to those people?
Just like advice for the marathon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot win the race in the W's, but you can absolutely lose the race in the W's. So it is worth waiting a couple seconds. Losing 2 or 3 seconds per mile is nothing. It will add up to minutes above tree line. So just be patient. I like to think of it, even if I'm just doing the ascent, as marathon effort. So you want to still be able to talk a little bit in the W's, and don't get impatient. Like, you'll want to pass people, and if you go around them and you lose a ton of energy on technical rocks, like, it's just not worth it. Just wait a second, it'll get wide in just a minute, and you'll be able to pass with no problems.
I've asked that question like 15 times today, and everyone has said the same thing. So if you're listening, make sure you really listen to that and honor the mountain.
And also, when you get above tree line, just do your best to keep moving. So even if you're walking, turn it into power hiking. Just be really deliberate, because everyone's hurting there. So any sort of forward motion is still motion. Don't look around. Put your hands on your knees and be deliberate with your motions. So you'll save time.
So you're aiming for your 4th marathon title?
Oh my gosh, we'll see. I would just love to have a good day on the mountain and come out without stitches.
That's a great plan. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Hazes. I mostly want to copy Tina's answer. I wasn't raised here, but I do live in Colorado Springs now. So one of the big reasons for coming out this year is it's a really high caliber local race. Having that local opportunity is especially important this year because we started a family. Our 12-week-old Rosalind is just over there. So, yeah, thank you all. And so a big goal is to just show that I can compete and run at a high level just after this new rebalance of priorities. So running is still very much a part of Tara's and my life, and we want to pursue that together and show Rosalind that she can have passions outside of just work and taking care of her. So the goal is
She's already working? She's like 12 weeks old.
Yeah. No, for mom and dad. But yeah, want to have a top performance, go for the win, I'm not going to think about trying to get my best time, but it's obviously a goal. It's really just how can we still pursue those goals in our new normal?
What advice do you have for other parents out there?
I don't think I'm in a position to do that 12 weeks in.
What's been the craziest realization so far then?
Oh man. Let's see, Terry, you want to answer that one?
She's too tired.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many other parents here just would appreciate all the little gains every week as she grows, and let's see. I mean, we're celebrating her now having awareness of what her hands are doing. I think the single greatest improvement in her life is if she would learn how to put her pacifier back in. Yeah, just all those very small incremental growth things.
Back to the running side. How do you approach a race where you can, in theory, compare yourself to yourself and past versions of yourself, but that's not the best thing to do in this season of life? How do you mentally approach that?
Yeah, I think it's an attempt. It's just trying as hard as I can to ignore it and not look at it. Because, I have the data, I can go look at my runs and say, oh, here's what I did for every single mile. So I think it's really just accepting the current reality. This is where I am today, and so I'm gonna leverage those experiences, but not make direct comparisons.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Kieran Ney. I think this is my 6th time racing at Pikes Peak. I grew up here in Springs and then up in Monument. And this was really like the first really competitive trail race I ever did, the Ascent back in 2019. And since then I've had like some really great races here, some really heartbreaking races here, and it's something that I have tried to come back to every single year. I've only missed one. I was pretty injured in 2022, I believe. But this has been something that I've made a point of trying to come back to every year, because I think it's just a really unique, awesome local race that is the character and soul of this community here, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
You've had a pretty strong couple of years here. How do you think about going into a race like this that is just a physical beast of a day?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. I've been doing a lot of longer races recently, where they really hurt, but the moment to moment is not incredibly painful. And I was initially planning to do the marathon to kind of slot into the sort of longer races, but doing the Ascent this year, I was really thinking about the mindset of like, oh, this is going to be a race where every moment is pretty painful for like 2.5 hours. So I think it's just about getting in that headspace and understanding that it is really going to hurt, and you're going to get to a point where you have to make a decision of how much pain you're willing to tolerate. And that's a really cool place to get to. And this race in particular, I think, it's relentless. There are no breaks, so you're kind of hurting the whole time, and that's a cool challenge to come back to year on year, and it never gets any easier.
We shared a starting line at the Grand Traverse a few weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
And that was my longest race, and during that I thought, similar to what you're saying, I thought back about all of the training that led me to that day, that enabled me to do that hard thing. I thought about the hill sessions. I thought about the 6.5 hour training day and all that went into it. What do you do to draw on the training on a day that is going to be like acutely painful pretty much the whole way through, and how do you use that to get you through it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just about understanding that just because you're fit doesn't mean it's not gonna really suck, and understanding that you have prepared for it, but that it should kind of feel like you're right on the edge of what you can do if you're running to your potential in something like the Ascent, and to not let that be a negative feedback loop where you're feeling like you're dying and all of a sudden you're questioning your training. It's never perfect, but you've done what you've done up to this point, and being in that psychological space of readiness to compete, I think, is a bit of that's in the past, and now you have this moment that you're choosing to be in where you can leverage everything that you've worked on to try and have a good result, or you can back off, and you get that chance to make that decision a couple times a year. And it's a cool opportunity to just do what you can with what you have. And so regardless of what your training is coming in, I think you have to believe that it was the right thing for you. If you're doubting that now, it's not gonna be better up there.
Pressure is a privilege. That's cool. I love what you said about like you get to do that a couple of times a year, and if you do it more than a couple of times a year, you're not going to be too satisfied with the outcome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
My name is Brian Whitfield, and I'm just happy to be here.
Why are you here?
I'm here to race the Ascent. I love this race. This mountain is, it was home for the past 5 years. I think it's a really unique style of race that we have here in North America, but then also in, just all over the world. There's not many places you can run to 14,000 feet in a competitive race, and it's pretty special. So.
You had a pretty strong day at Broken Arrow earlier this year in a pretty crazy field. Talk to me about talk to us about your desire and love for competition.
Yeah, I've sort of intentionally sought out some of the most competitive races in North America, and being an unsupported athlete, just kind of funding my own trips. I've only made it to a couple of those, but when I do get a chance to put it on the line and show people what I'm made of, it's a fun opportunity to get out there and give it my best. So,
where's your head at when it comes to the thought that you're going to redline or get close to redline for a couple hours?
Oh man, there's a certain point in the race where you just start tasting pennies, which is your own blood. Which it's really fun to work in training, and then to go put it together on race day is it's a unique opportunity. Like, we're very lucky to be healthy and up here on the line. I think a lot of people would have liked to be here that maybe aren't able to, or didn't have the health or the fortunate circumstances to put them in this spot. So I'm just grateful to be healthy and in a position where I can push my body.
Cool. It's definitely a gift.
Hi, my name is Sarah Carter. This is my first year racing here at Pikes, and very excited to be doing this race. I've lived in Colorado for a little bit over 6 years now. And prior to becoming a trail runner, I did a lot in the track and cross-country world. And there were certainly times when I had heard about this race and I was kind of yearning to escape the oval and run up a 14er. And I'm really glad to finally have the opportunity to get to do this race. Something I have known about for a while and have just thought sounded like the most incredible challenge. I've kind of, as I've more integrated into the trail world, I found that uphills are just the most diabolically fun thing in the world.
Worse than the 800?
I don't run the 800. You couldn't pay me to run the 800. No way. Nothing shorter than the 5K. Maybe a 3K if we're being generous. So getting the opportunity to combine kind of a love for endurance with a love for the climbing has me super excited. And I think, like somebody else on the panel said, there aren't as many opportunities to do both a local race and such an iconic North American race, and to get to combine those two factors for this, I'm really looking forward to it.
How do you take the experience in mid-distance where like a single mistake can be extremely costly onto the trails where it can or it really could? How do you take those lessons from running really fast on the oval onto a mountain like this?
Honestly, the comparable efforts are more similar than I ever expected them to be. This is my hot take. I know this person next to me doesn't necessarily agree, but I kind of found the equivalent. So sort of for me, like a VK is like an 800. It just feels fast and redline to the max all the way through. And kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, the 50K for me feels like a tactical 10K. The difference is you're running tactical 10K effort for, 4 to 6 hours. But I've kind of found that it inhabits the same headspace. So in that, you can kind of just switch your brain into that racing mode and your body follows suit because it knows what to do.
What are you looking forward to most?
That's a great question. It's difficult since this isn't something I've done before. But I think I'm looking most forward to that point, probably about 60% of the way up where you're ready for it to be over and it's really not close to being over and you have to make that very deliberate choice to lock in. That's a part of racing that I, in a sick way, kind of enjoy, just because that's what separates your physical limitation from your mental limitation. Like I said, making that conscious decision, even when things are really starting to burn, to just lock in further and commit to maxing out to that finish line. I don't know, I think that's the part of racing that you can walk away from feeling very satisfied about.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I use both microphones.
You got 2 mics, so you gotta have some good stuff coming here.
All right, pressure's on. Well, hey everyone, my name is Mika, and this will be my 3rd time running the Pikes Peak Ascent. I think Pikes Peak is just one of those races that makes sense. You have this super cool mountain, and you start in town, and if you're running the Ascent, you run to the top. Simple. If you're running the marathon, you come back down. And the fact that it goes up to 14,000 feet definitely adds a layer of strategy and challenge. So, honestly, one of the things that's kept me coming back here 3 years in a row is that both previous times that I've run this, I feel like I've dug as deep as I've ever dug before at the end of the race, when you're in the high country. And honestly, both times kind of walked away feeling like I hadn't quite nailed it. So I'm excited to come back here and, embrace the challenge.
Where does your head go when you get up there for that next time and you really want to be satisfied with that experience and being able to dig deep? How do you go into it knowing that you're going to need to push harder than in previous times?
Yeah, I think it's a balance of respecting the mountain but not being scared of it at the same time, and going into it, fully embracing the fact that you're going to go in the pain cave and go deep in the pain cave and trying to learn as much as you can from the past experiences. And then also once you're up there, you just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and sometimes you just use a mantra to just stay focused and keep your mind on the task at hand.
Is there an aspect of gratitude coming out of the knee challenges?
For sure, yeah. For those who don't know, I've been dealing with a knee injury for almost 18 months now, and the past year in particular has been quite hard navigating that. And so there's a huge aspect of gratitude to just be out here. And things aren't quite perfect with that injury yet, but I'm very grateful to be able to do uphill stuff. And if everything goes smoothly tomorrow, this will be my longest run in 10 months.
Amazing. We need some hot takes from the other mic.
Some hot takes?
Just kidding. You got 2 mics in the hand. Cool, thank you everyone. Does anyone have questions for Kim? Kim's a legend up here and has some really awesome finishes herself. Pick her brain.
Kim, was there a specific year that really stood out to you as your favorite? Because I know you've done this multiple times.
This is the obvious answer, but probably 2012 when I ran my fastest time. It was just such a magical day where you've trained and it's gone perfectly, which rarely happens, and you just feel amazing. And you get to experience that race where you are right below the red line the entire time. It's hard to do that, but when everything aligns, those are the magical days. So that one probably stands out to me most. But a lot of really awesome memories. I think that's why people keep coming back to this race. It's the community, it's the mountain, it's the memories and the experiences. So
I have a question for you. I've run this race quite a few times, and I've done it. I think my fastest time in the Ascent was actually in the marathon in 2021. But I've also run the Ascent pretty well, where I've like gone from the gun. What do you think's better, holding back for that first little bit, or just going all in and hoping it sticks and you have that magical day?
I don't think going all out is probably the way to go. I always took it pretty easy to the roundabout, and then after you make that left turn, you do need to start thinking of your position so you don't get caught in a big blind for the W's. So after you get to the roundabout and you go left, it gets really steep, and that's a good opportunity to pass people if you feel that you need to be ahead. But I think it's really keeping in check with your effort. And they say supposedly your bar camp split should be about your halfway time. And on my best years, that was true. And on my best time, it was about 1:12, 20, or 30 to bar camp. So it was evenly split. So I think it's a little bit of both. It hurts, but it shouldn't be all out.
Thank you.
When you're choosing your line on bar, are you thinking about taking like the smallest steps possible, or do you just take the most direct line when you're going up? So if there's like a big step that you can take, or like 3 little steps around it, do you have a preference, or do you just take what comes?
That's a hard question. I don't know what I would do in a race. Probably what comes most natural. I think up the second half, maybe the direct line, because it gives you a break and allows you to do the power hiking steps, and it can be nice to switch back and forth between the running and the power hiking. But that really depends on like how direct, or
how big the step is.
Okay, so after having
love this, by the
so
way.
many years to refine kind of your own personal race strategy, I'm curious, like, how do you break the course down in your mind? Like, do you break it down into chunks? Do you have like, do you move? Yeah, like, how do you transition in different sections of the course? Like, what's your kind of cliff notes on how Kim Dobson, breaks down this course?
That's a good question. Like I said, I wanted to take it easy to the roundabout, and I'm not as speedy as you are as a road runner. So some of the road runners will start out really fast, and that's not me. So easy start. Then when it gets steep, I would kick it up a gear to get into good place. Then dividing the race into fourths was helpful. So thinking about it like to the top of the W's, then you get that smoother section from the top of the W's to bar camp. Bar camp to A-frame would be the third quarter, and then A-frame to the top. And my goal was always to get to that next quarter with a little bit more effort to give. If you can get to bar camp, which is halfway, with a little more effort, you'll start passing people. And if you can get to A-frame and have even more effort to give, you will really start passing people. So preserving a little bit for each quarter always works well.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna tune in from this mic over here. It's being used. So as someone who's doing this for the first time, I heard a lot from kind of down the line about the community aspect. I heard something about kazoos, but both in terms of like the course and the landscape, as well as kind of those community encounters. As a first-time runner, like, what should I be looking out for? Whether it's a viewpoint or a particularly gnarly section, or a concert of kazoos. Like, what has stuck in your mind over the years of something you either look forward to or maybe dread a little bit? But what are some notable points out there?
Well, congrats on your first race. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Really excited for you. I don't know the exact mileage, but like maybe around mile 5 and 6, you get some smoother sections where you can see the peak. And that's definitely a time to look up because it's smooth, so you won't fall, and the views are beautiful. And just to know that that's where you're headed is really powerful. And then I remember my first race, once I got above tree line, it was such an amazing moment to know that you've made it like 10 miles up and you can see over Colorado Springs. So take a moment then to look around as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kim. Thank you all for joining, and have fun out there.
How you doing, Matt? All right. See you on YouTube.
Shields is proud to partner with the Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon. Located off Interquest and I-25, Shields is Colorado's largest all-sports store. With the best names in athletic and running apparel like Nike, Under Armour, On Running, and Brooks, get geared up for your best run yet. And we'll be right there with you to get you to the top. Shields, proud partner of the Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon, and runners everywhere.
I'm only here for a few minutes. I got right at the end, but that's cool. I know.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Tailwind keeps you hydrated on easy days, fueled during your long efforts, and recovered, recharged, and ready for what's next. So you can get back out there and do more of what you love. Clean, complete nutrition for every mile, every adventure, and every finish line.